The value of gratitude. Hey everybody, this is Mike Erlob with another episode of Power Your Life. So I am so glad to be back with you guys. Today what I wanted to do is I wanted to deviate a little bit from our normal. We've been talking a lot about the spine. I've been talking a lot about spinal issues. We've been talking a lot about back pain. We've been talking about spinal stenosis and herniated disc. We've been talking about a lot of things, but I wanted to actually take the time and slow it up a little bit and talk about gratitude. Now, what is gratitude? What is it, what is it actually? The definition of gratitude, according to the dictionary, is the quality of being thankful, readiness to show appreciation, and return kindness. So why am I even talking about this? You see, the reason I'm talking about this today is I feel, and I deeply feel, that we are lacking a sense of gratitude in our healthcare system. And not just in our healthcare system, but really in our entire society. But definitely I'm noticing this where we're not seeing, the value, seeing gratitude being shown in the healthcare system the way it's set up right now. And, as a physical therapist, I wanted to help others heal from their physical injuries. So kind of a little side story, I became a physical therapist because way back in high school, I had 2 knee injuries. I had surgery on my left knee that year, my senior year, from a football injury in October, and I rehabbed it and I came back, and then I had another injury on my right knee. It was my wrestling practice. It was my first practice back after getting the release from my doctor, and on my left knee, and I was so super excited, and it was in the first 10 minutes of practice, and I twisted my knee and tore up some cartilage in my right knee and had to have another surgery, and it took some time to be able to get back on the mat after that. But you see, the physical therapist who worked with me, in my back in my hometown of Hastings, Nebraska, Gene Parks, he was amazing, and he is the one that really motivated me and got me back into sports. He's the one that showed me what to do, and really it changed my life for me. Was having to go through that experience, and having something that football and then wrestling, sports that were just extremely important to me at the time, like they are to a lot of our kids nowadays. And we're seeing this happening with COVID. Unfortunately, there's a lot of kids who have prepared and have really worked really hard for their last year in high school in sports, and in many cases across the country, that's being taken away from them. And they're learning a hard lesson, just like I learned, that at any given time, anything that you have can be taken away from you at any moment without warning. Just as my ability to play football was completely taken away, and then wrestling was taken away, and I had to work really hard. Thankfully, I was able to get back, into it. And I was extremely grateful for the hard work and for the guidance and everything that he did for me in order to help me earn my way back onto the team and to get healthy. And you see, that really ignited a fire inside of me, because I wanted to do that for others. I wanted to do the same thing. I wanted to give back and help people heal from their physical ailments. And that's what led me into this amazing profession of physical therapy. And I've got to tell you, I am truly grateful, very grateful for all of those. And I've been a physical therapist for 23 years. I've seen a lot of patients. That I am truly grateful for all of those that I've had the opportunity to help. And it really seems to me that, this gratefulness, this gratitude, recently it's just been missing. And I haven't been seeing it in our healthcare system and in our society. There's so much fear, there's so much worry, there's so much people are very scared. They're scared from COVID. It's completely changed everything that we do. And, I'm seeing this come through in certain areas. One thing I wanted to share with you was a story that just happened a few days ago. You see, I saw a client, and she had an ankle injury, and what happened was she had kind of stepped wrong in her backyard, and there was a hole, and there was kind of a hill on the side that where she was walking, kind of up the hill, and she stepped in this hole and she twisted her ankle, and she couldn't get up, she couldn't use crutches. I mean, it was very painful. They had to actually transport her to the emergency room, by ambulance. And she told me that in the first session we had together, that this was the most unusual experience she has ever had related to getting an injury taken care of. As I'm sitting down to talk to her, and we're getting ready to examine her ankle, and we're making sure it's moving, and we're checking the ligaments, and she told me that since the injury, which had happened about a month ago, her visit to the emergency room, and then her doctor's visits, this was the first time anyone in the healthcare system actually physically touched her ankle. And I was just blown away. She said in the emergency room, they wouldn't even touch her physically. They took x-rays, they ruled out that it wasn't a fracture, and they just told her, well, just wrap it, and here's a brace, you can put it on, and go see your doctor. And then her family doctor wouldn't see her in the office because of the fear of COVID, and just did a televisit. And she just had so many questions, and she said it was just really unusual. She said, I can't believe that our healthcare system is going to diagnose me without actually having physically examined me. And I had to agree with her. I was blown away. I didn't know what to say. And that got me thinking. That got me really focusing on what's going on. What is going on in our society? What's going on in our world? What's going on with healthcare? You see, it seems to me that everyone is living in so much fear, so much worry about coronavirus and COVID-19, that in a lot of cases we're losing our compassion for people. Now, what I want to say as a disclaimer here is that there are many of those in the healthcare system that are serving selflessly. I mean, they are giving everything. We saw that with some of the first responders and the healthcare workers in New York City. We've seen that time and time again, around the world. People are in the healthcare system putting their lives on the line in order to help those in need. So I don't want you to think that we don't know that that's happening, but in general, I really feel that we are starting to lose our compassion when you won't look at somebody or touch somebody's ankle to examine it after they've had an injury because you're afraid of COVID. That doesn't show compassion to me. And I think that's a concern. There should be a gratitude on the side of every healthcare worker for just having the opportunity to help and serve another person. I mean, that's what we went into this profession to do. And as I kind of looked back on my career, and I looked back on what patients that have just kind of popped up, and I remember, it got me thinking about another client, and I started really thinking about the whole, what is gratitude? And this client that I had, this was many years ago, was a really good example of gratitude. And really, I want to keep her identity, I don't want to really reveal it, so I'm just going to call her Alice, okay? And, see, this was quite a few years ago. Alice came to me with a shoulder issue. She had a shoulder problem. And I'll never forget the first time that I saw her. As I came into the room, most of the times when I come into a room, the client's sitting down and they're just waiting for me. Well, when I came into this room, it was very, very different. This client was pacing around the room back and forth. Like, she couldn't sit down. I could tell that she was very, very agitated and upset. And when I went to talk to her, she didn't want to sit down. She didn't want to stop moving. I could see tears were welling up in her eyes as she was telling me about how bad her shoulder hurt, and that she had been to 3 other therapy clinics in the course of trying to get this taken care of. She had been to two other orthopedic surgeons, and she just felt that no one was taking her seriously, and she just she couldn't move it. It was very painful. Tears started to, as they welled up, and then started streaming down her eyes, and my heart just went out to her. After working with her just in that short time, I could tell that no one would actually just sit down and have a conversation and try and help her. In healthcare, we're just busy. We're like in and out. When was the last time that you went to your healthcare provider's office and they just sat down and had a conversation with you? They just actually got to know you as a person and to care for you. But instead, because of insurance restrictions and because of the way our system's set up, it's just literally you're in there, write a prescription, and you're out. And she just felt that she wasn't being valued. Her shoulder was very painful. She had a lot of problems with it, and it took us a long time to get better. Many of our sessions took a lot longer than what they normally would have. But, I felt I knew that it was important to her, to Alice, to make sure that we took the time, that we left no stone unturned. Because there were a lot of sessions that she came in and we didn't make any progress, and she would be really frustrated. And I could tell that our treatment plan wasn't effective. And so then we'd have to go back to the drawing board and we'd have to figure out, well, what are we missing? And we would then re-implement something new. And again, she might come in and she got very teary and upset, and very frustrated. And I could understand because she couldn't sleep, she couldn't put her shirt on, she was having trouble driving, she was having trouble working. And she didn't feel that anybody was really truly listening to her. That they were just kind of saying, oh, well, x-rays didn't show anything, your MRI doesn't show anything, oh, it can't be that bad. And they would just brush her off. And finally, after months of us working together and taking the time and really truly listening and implementing several different treatment plans, we finally got her shoulder better. It was because we took the time and we listened to her, we valued her as a person. And I was able to connect with that client and understand her issues. And in turn, we were really able to help her. And over the years, I continued to work with Alice for other injuries too. She came back and, she became more than a client, she became a friend of mine. Alice taught me a lot of things. She taught me, one, how to really listen to a client, how to really listen to them, find out where their issue is. And not just jump in there and try and fix everything right away, but to kind of figure out how this is affecting their life. She taught me the value of slowing down and being patient, with my patients. As a therapist, many of us are type A personalities, and we're just driven and we're just trying to really get through the day really fast. But you see, she taught me that. She taught me this is what you do. You slow down, you take your time, you focus on the areas that maybe you're missing. And like I said, oftentimes in healthcare, I see us just getting in a hurry and rushing through things. And when you do that, you stop seeing a person as a person and they start becoming a number, and when they become a number, then you start losing your compassion, you lose your humanity, and you lose your gratitude for a fellow human being. And, I realized that during that time when I was working with Alice, that I never gave up on finding a solution for her shoulder. That took lots of time, patience, and compassion to help her fix that. And, I learned so many valuable lessons from that as a therapist and as a person. And from that process, I even gained a friend. And every single day, I learn and experience something new. And that experience with Alice has taught me that I always should be grateful for each and every encounter with a client or a patient. You see, we learn just as much from you as you can learn, from us. And this has me today, in the last few days, really has me feeling very grateful for my profession and the privilege of being able to help others. And I think that all of us could use a little bit of this gratitude in our lives. You see, if you really look at it, if you really boil it down, you don't have to be a physical therapist. You don't have to be in healthcare in order to help somebody, in order to change their life, in order to be grateful. You see, I think if you look at it, there's a lesson or something to be grateful for in everything we do and experience in life. It's just a matter of slowing down and looking at it at the end of each day. Think about this. I want you to think about something. Think about how that would change our world if all of us could be a little bit more grateful and understanding towards one another. It's mind-boggling. If every single one of us took that time, how amazing would that be? So, I want to leave you with this thought-provoking quote from Charles Swindoll. And it says, in spite of our high-tech world and efficient procedures, people remain the essential ingredient of life. And I'll let you guys chew on that one for a little while. And I almost forgot, by the way, if you do need any help or you need more information about any back-related issues that you have, I do have a new ebook out, and it's titled The 5 Best Kept Secrets to Fast Back Pain Relief. So guys, you can get your free copy simply by emailing me at mike@flex-pt.com or shoot us a message on Facebook Messenger. Say, hey, I want my free back report. I'll give it to you. But shoot us a message too. Just let us know what you thought of this video, of this session about gratitude. It really speaks to me, and I think it's just something I wanted to be able to put out there. So until next time, power your life and keep moving forward.